The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-873-7618. Now, David White.
And welcome to another excellent edition of the Power Trading Hour. And as always, we're here at the appointed time.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
So what's going on? Well, we've got a nice bounce. We were complaining about having very light volume on Friday. So I was looking for a bounce, maybe not one quite this large. But if anything, it's telling us the same thing, and that is that volume continues to be quite light as we go through the markets. So no real confirmation to the downside, no real confirmation to the upside. Options still kind of point to lower, around 4,000 on Friday. That won't take long, but I think the defining events of this week are going to be pushed into the late part of the week with earnings on Thursday night, along with some numbers coming out. But, we've got a little bit going on. We talked a bit on this show about looking at the dark pool numbers and how they were showing that at least mostly for the last 2 weeks, we haven't seen much in the way of the big street names being involved in buying and selling on the dark pools or in the dark pools. And I kind of thought that there was probably some selling going on. We got some confirmation of that over the weekend from Dow Jones, and saying that many people are selling some of their positions, 401k money, that kind of stuff. And the question is, do they think this is a market top? Or because of economic conditions, are some people selling to raise cash to make some of these payments? Again, I think a lot of people are betting on lower interest rates, and I'm not exactly sure why. But the Fed, it's been a little bit wishy-washy, so I can see how some people may look at the glass half full. I'm not exactly saying the glass is half empty, but I think there's a lot of unwinding still to do. And anytime someone pushes a stock as hard as they did either Disney or Apple over the last week on extremely poor earnings or bad news, and just tell you that, you're going to believe me or your lying eyes? Everything's great. It's wonderful. Everything is going higher. Is kind of interesting, but I'm more of the opinion that we're probably going to be in some, at best, sector rotation. Some of these bigger stocks that have already had the big runs are going to have a lot of problems. You may not make a lot of money on the downside, but I don't think that there's a whole lot going on to the upside. Now, on Apple today, we were down 57.5 million shares on Friday. You're up about 35 million with about an hour and 50 minutes left to go in the day. So kind of looking at that. Anyway, we'll see. Maybe, you do have a high volume spike here on February 3rd with a lot of the other stocks. You get back into that, but if you're going to get volume, it's going to be tough. Other stocks of interest, I know a lot of people were looking at Microsoft today. It continues to be interesting, but again, you have a nice gap higher. You've got about the same volume you had on the close on Friday, going back up to a previous high that had about 55 million shares. Right now, you got about 30 million shares. So the question is, you're back into these highs. There's not a lot of volume. The question is, what's going to make a lot of people decide that the market's going to grow straight to the sky with some magic beans, or are we just in a bigger consolidation that probably runs from about 3,900, maybe 3,800 to 41.5? Well, let's call it that on the S&P cash. Give me a call today at 877-927-6648. Email me. That's at ELMail, E-L-L, ELMail, at path@tfnn.com. And, of course, you can always put a message in the den. So we're going through some emails already. And the question is to look at some of these stocks already. Can we look at Tesla out here? Have they quit shorting? And the answer is no. Got a little doji out here. But as I say, one of the patterns I like the best is the double repo pattern from Joe DiNapoli. That is a 3x3 displaced moving average that you go above for 10 to 15 days. This one's even a little longer. As years go by, we get more and more extended moves higher. You'll get or tend to get a little move underneath it like you have today. That volume will be light. You'll get another pop. That volume also will be light. The next move back below that 3x3 line generally comes with a big candle and a lot of volume, and that tells you the jig is up. Generally, when these things set up this way, you want to look for some level of a pullback. And this, you did have a nice gap up here on the 26th of January. That would probably be first target, which is about 160. Well, let's call it 158-ish. But you have a double gap at about 144-ish. So back in that range would be a pullback in Tesla, and still not bust a bullish view on Tesla, which I do not have. But my guess is if you are wanting to go bearish, you see this kind of pattern out here. You get a little bit of volume like you did on Friday, pushing it down. You don't get much now. People haven't quit shorting. They're still in the 40% range every day of trying to beat this stock down. You get one more push higher. And on that push higher, if the shorts give up, you get a big spike, in which I'm going to say maybe 10, 12 bucks, maybe 15 bucks. And that spike rolls over, and you get the next move underneath that 3x3. That may be one of the nice setups out here for, basically you're looking at about a $40 move, maybe 50, 45 maybe even 48 bucks. And generally they give it up fairly quickly. In worst case scenario, if you wouldn't have the gap, you'd almost always say these would go back to where it started, and that's about 130 bucks. I've got plenty of time today. The lines are all open. Give me a call, 877-927-6648. I'm waiting with bated breath, and that means that I put a worm on my tongue, so it is baited. I never understood that idiom out there in the market, but we're going to it today. Be back in a minute.
Currencies, commodities, and bond markets are as important as ever right now with how they're driving the volatility in equity markets across the globe, which is why it's a great time to try out Teddy Kegstad's Tiger Forex Report. Teddy Kegstad breaks down the Forex markets every Monday using his 30-plus years of experience as a trading veteran of futures, Forex, stocks, and options. Teddy releases his weekly Tiger Forex Report every Monday morning with coverage of all the major currency pairs, including the dollar index, the euro dollar, pound dollar, dollar Swiss, dollar yen, as well as many more, and he also has weekly coverage of the crude oil market and the 30-year T-bonds, as they both influence Forex markets tremendously. When you sign up for the Tiger Forex Report, you also gain instant access to Teddy's 60-minute webinar archive he just hosted, Forex Strategies and Fundamentals, What is Behind the Tiger Forex Report. For all the details and to start your 30-day Tiger Forex Report subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Are you grinding in the market, but seeing little to no return? Or are you a successful trader, simply looking to make your job a little easier? Learn to take the path of least resistance with David White's powerful trading newsletter. David White is an accomplished trader whose deep understanding of technology and the markets allows him to consistently find and share winning trades. Support and resistance define the ranges in which stocks trade. By understanding these trading ranges, David White is able to find the path of least resistance. David White's trading newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, is delivered daily before the markets open to make every trading day an easy win. Visit TFNN.com today and subscribe to David White's Ultimate Trading Newsletter for $119 a month and try all of our newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Take the path of least resistance at TFNN, educating investors. Are you looking for a way to consistently add winning trades to your portfolio? Tom O'Brien is here to help. Tom O'Brien has been successfully trading markets for over 30 years. A frequent contributor to TD Ameritrade Network and CNBC, Tom O'Brien founded TFNN over 20 years ago to help educate investors just like you. Tom's daily market newsletter, Market Insights, is published every morning when the markets open to give you the competitive informational edge you need to succeed. These newsletters are packed full of Tom's advanced technical analysis and are geared to deliver comprehensive strategies for a successful portfolio. Get Tom O'Brien's newsletter, Market Insights, today and try all of our products and newsletters 30 days risk-free with our money-back guarantee at TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
As we return to FIS, which is the big loser of the day on the S&P 500. A fintech firm announced its Monday spinoff of its merchant solutions business. Holders will receive a pro rata distribution of shares from the stock market. Transaction expected to be tax-free to FIS. So I don't know. I'd have to go back and dig in this. Is the split today? Hard to tell. We shall move on since I do not own that stock. Don't look at it much. Other stocks, CF Industries down a little. As we look at this, just an inside day on this one. But kind of interesting to see a day like this and whether or not you've got much movement in the market. So we'll go back, start looking at the ones on the upside of the market here. The big winner of the day was Illumina, or is Illumina, he said. The big DNA company up $15 on the day. Not much in the way of volume, though. Again, a lot of these things look like maybe they caught some short sellers being a little bit too greedy on the day. You are back up into the candle of the 7th of February, and the move down on the 8th that had 2.5 million shares. You're up with about 1.4 million shares so far today. So, nice on the day. But if I was long the thing, I'd probably be thinking of selling. WBD. It's up 5.5% to let's see what's going on with this one as we look. Warner Brothers Discovery Media Company provides access. Everybody knows what this is, doesn't he? But there's a lot of stuff in this bag. Discovery Channel, HGTV, Food Network, Animal Planet. You know, I'd watch Animal Planet a little bit more if they have my favorite Japanese otter channels on there from YouTube. The That was quite a deal this weekend, as the Otters actually had, I think, 5 or 6 new little babies. But I get my fix from those Japanese otter channels. Well, the otters, I think they're the happiest animals ever. They're always moving and wiggling. They don't sit still a lot. What other was going on here? U.S. Sport, Discovery Home and Health Brands. These guys do everything. So you got a nice pop out here, but again, this doesn't look like a lot of volume in many of these. Somebody else loves the Otter Channel too. Thanks, Jacob. Oh boy. But I don't know. Is that Katero? Is that anyway? I'm big on the Japanese. Now you know my secret shame. I'm in the in the Otter channels, but we'll have to see. No, these aren't muskrats. These are otters. They're a completely different animal. They'd be insulted to hear that. Another big pop today. I will post a link to that in the den when I get out there. But there's nothing more cuter than little otter babies. Now, you have to be prepared for it because one of the otter babies has a little bit of a birth defect. But I think they're going to be able to fix it. It was touch and go there for a while over the weekend. Generac, a GNRC. I mean, again, we're looking at volume here being pretty poor on the day. We're still now just 5.9 billion shares on the day, so there isn't a lot going on. Generac looks like about 128 would be a pop in this. Again, house sales probably. A lot of that being pushed around this morning. Maybe they think they're going to get some of that business back. I'm not exactly so sure. But that's it. Okay. Okay. Just looking through some emails. Okay. Okay. CCL, also a mover, 4%. Of course, this is all about trying to get these stocks going again. It's very tough for me to start thinking about investing in these before August of any year. Normally, of course, everybody wants to start planning their vacations. Not now, but, of course, in August to get out of the horrible weather of the north. And, of course, Bill and, what was his name? Doug and something McKinsey. Now I'm starting to lose my mind. Got the Canucks. It's been so long ago now. Anyway, no volume in this again. So this just all kind of looks like a little bit of market indigestion on the backs of maybe people being too short these stocks that are $10, and you're getting some moves on them anyway. Ralph Lauren up a little bit, about half the volume on Friday. So again, kind of tough to get too excited about this move for me yet. Doesn't mean it's over. It's not uncommon to see these light volume pops. And of course, Metamucil itself up a little bit today. What are we going to call that? 4% on the pop. This did come back, get to 197. That was on February 2nd. We've kind of pulled back. I think this is way, way overdone. My guess is this is actually going to come back and fill this gap. The question is just when. Meta has some huge problems, along with Google, and I think a lot of people are just whistling past the graveyard. I don't know when these court cases are going to come up, but there's, it's not just now the whole issue of antitrust. But these are also going to dip themselves now into court cases for Section 230 protections. And a lot of people looked at 230 as a license to do anything. The Supreme Court pretty much has already said, that isn't it. You guys wildly expanded what the law actually said. And because, of course, the Ninth Circuit Court out in California is settled right there in San Francisco, they had kind of the Homer advantage. Well, that's probably going away. And why they won't be able to be sued for stuff that other people say, they'll probably have problems not publishing stuff that does make the terms of service.
If you want to take advantage of this sector, now is the time to subscribe to my Gold Report. The Gold Report is a comprehensive look at the metals sector as well as the markets that move gold, which is the currency and bond markets. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. Every Monday morning, I publish the Gold Report with coverage of gold, silver, bonds, the XAU, HUI, GDX, as well as more than 30 different mining equities. To see for yourself the types of profitable trades that are recommended within the Gold Report, sign up now by visiting TFNN.com. Don't miss out on the next great gold trade. Sign up today.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, for free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartleys, ABCs, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And, yeah, you could say a lot of stuff going on in the background here. Question, take a look at Win. Of course, we had some nice bounces out of earnings on these last week. You have a nice pop on, what was that, on the 9th with 7 million shares. Then you went to a little under 3, and today you got about 1.4. Most of these now are not just up and away in my beautiful balloon. Well, that applies to multiple things in the headlines. But in the stock price, we're talking about a nice pop here last week on earnings. And the volume's really falling out fairly quickly. You'd want at least this thing to pull back to maybe 107 or a little lower, and continue having light volume. Problematic though would be any close back below 104. So you got some decent risk reward. What else do we have out here? Man, we have nothing but. Okay. I see what's going on here. There we go. Yeah, I haven't looked at RHI in a while, so let's take a look at that. The otter hour. Well, when I need my moment of zen, the otters, they center me. I'll go walk my dogs, watch a little otter. Japanese otters. They're different. These Japanese otter channels are very different than just watching wild otters in the wild. Anyway, Robert Half International just going sideways. No volume in this one. You had a lot of volume on Friday without much movement. So I don't know what anybody's looking out here. To Waste Management. We'll take a look at that one real quick. Got a lot of them. Keep the emails coming at path@tfnn.com. Okay. Okay. Well, you did test. Okay. How do I do that? You did test the first. The first, which you had a lot of volume and a push higher, 3.5 million shares with 1.7 million shares. You went a little higher today and reversed it with 1.2. So I'm going to say, there isn't a huge trading range. But like I said, I think this whole market is set up in a trading range unless we get some kind of news that is unbelievable. 148.55 is the bottom side of that. So you've got a lot of that going on. Let's take a look at some other stuff out here. PYPL. Okay. And see. What do you have? I mean, just the lack of volume from everything out here is kind of interesting. You got a little bit of a doji out here. This thing's distant support, so I don't need much there. Let's take a look at XLE for Al. Who, you just popped right here into the top. But man, got a little less than 8 million shares compared to 20 on Friday. So again, you've got, if you believe in the IBD method, you want to have a follow through on that kind of movement back into, what are you going to say, 3 days, 4 days? Sideways is not a whole lot going on. So let's go back to the other one that I was looking at. Where is it at here? PayPal. Let's take a look at some of these other ones. OXY and Energy. They were trying to push them a bit on financial infotainment today. But again, you had a kind of a fits and starts. Occidental, basically the same thing. Lots of volume on Friday, moved up like maybe something was going on. It wasn't huge volume, but the volume today, 5 million shares compared to the 13.5 million shares. So there's more going on there. Question, take a quick look at GLD with a little bit of a pullback out here today, being down $9. You are back to this gap higher. That gap was on the 6th of January where it all started. That had about, let's call it, 7.9 million shares. Not looking bad. You've got about 2.6 million shares. Let's go out and look at the GDX out here, because that does put you back down right in the dead center of this gap higher that was on the 4th of January this year. So that gap had 34.3 million shares. You had about 7, you got 7.8 today. You had 16 on Friday, 22 on Thursday. So those are all significantly lighter volume moves. And gold loves to chase people out and have bigger, wider swings. But I don't know. I'm going to say if you're a gold aficionado, I'd be looking at the GDX right here. Okay, let's see here. Okay. And what else do we have? We got a couple minutes left. Got a few more. Let's take another look at some of these in the energy sector. Marathon Oil. Man, is this the entire market? Almost doji on no volume. We looked at XOM. What else do we have out here? That looks interesting. Now we had STZ from last week. I wanted to check back in on this one. And now you just had the big move on Thursday. A lot of volume and you're going sideways. Again, this market does, the more you kind of look at it, the more a lot of these stocks just look like they're going sideways. And there isn't a whole lot. You get volume one day and none the next. On Raytheon, you have a nice little pop, but again, no volume here. 5.3 million shares on Friday as you're trying to go back above this trend line that really started on the 25th of last month. You had 5.3 million shares on Friday. You got 2.5 million shares now. That's with an hour and 20 minutes left in the day. I don't see a lot going on here. Let's take a journey into another sector, and that is Archer Daniels Midland Supermarket to the world. Is coming back into its previous low a couple days ago. Tried to get into the low of September 29th, had 3.6 million shares. You had that volume. Energy off the high is a little bit more. So I'd say you have to wait for 79.39 to get tested. That September 29th, 2022 low. When we come back, got a lot more to look at. Keep the emails coming. path@tfnn.com.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, for free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
The technology around us is changing every day. With so much happening, it can seem impossible to keep up with all the information. David White's investment newsletter, The Technology Insider, is designed to give you all the information you need to understand the technology that shapes today's markets and tomorrow's future. David White has made his living staying on the cutting edge of technology. His weekly newsletter will give you specific recommendations for value tech stocks, as well as entry prices, target prices, and stops to set for each trade. Dave delivers his weekly newsletters every Friday with updates throughout the week. You can get the Technology Insider at TFNN.com for only $37.50. Sign up for David's newsletter, The Technology Insider, and get an inside look at everything the technology sector has to offer. Try it risk-free today with our 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
Are China A-shares hot or not? If you trade China A-shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A-share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A-shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction Shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
We're back. Look at a few more of these in the energy sector. You did have a nice bounce off the lows. You gapped up on 7 million shares back on November 3rd, or October 3rd, excuse me. 7.7 million shares. You got into that with 13 million shares. So at least ConocoPhillips is saying you could get back down to that 106 area for one more test. Do like the very light volume pullback all the way from November 4th on lighter volume. But again, I'd just say at least most of these kind of look like maybe you're going to get some kind of one last pullback down to these lows. GDXJ for Joe, who's looking at it. And of course, kind of the same thing. You're coming back and you've gone through this gap up that was on the 3rd of January this year. That was on 6.2 million shares. You got into it on this one with a little bit more gusto on the 9th of February, 3.7 on the 10th. Today you got about 1.5. So it may just be a little bit of an overextension on this one. If you're looking for the smaller cap gold stocks, though, I mean, it kind of looks like you got a low out here, but I'd probably want to buy it a little higher. This is either the halfway move on the way down or the bottom with a doji. So tomorrow, I think that tells you a great deal about where you want to put your stop. If this thing bounces, you don't want to see it close below 35.23 in the coming days if gold does turn around a bit. Okay, go back to some of these others here. Okay, so that does look interesting on a chart basis. What else do we have out here? Cardinal Health. Just kind of going sideways out here, hanging at the highs. See if we have anything out here. In the tech sector, looking at Western Digital, yeah, just no volume in that today either. Let's take a look at Seagate. Not much difference, even though it didn't do as well on earnings, if I remember correctly. Did gap up on the 26th with 9.5 million shares, and you've just been going out here sideways a bit. Certainly looks like a lot of what's going on out here is running out of gas. One way or the other, we're probably going to have some big movements into next week. Valero Energy, if you're looking for the crack spread trade, and we're not talking about drugs, talking about distilling. Anyway, man, how many stocks look like this? 4.8 million shares yesterday, 1.7. You know, when I was looking at this earlier, I think it's just getting worse for the lack of volume out here. Spies on Friday, 71 million. Today, 39 million. And you're just getting back up against this 3x3 right now. You were a little higher. You're right at it now. Okay. Let's see if there's anything else going on here I want to look at. Take a look at some of the retailers, WMT. Of course, these charts are all messed up because of those bad tick days. Let's take a look here. So you got 3.2 million shares today. You had 5 million on Friday and 4.3. Don't see a lot there. TGT. See if there's anything in that. Yeah. You were down on 1.8 on Friday. You're up on 1.35 today. These may be a little bit better in that sector. Take a look at Cisco. You got a bounce here that's about half of Friday's volume, 17.4 million shares on Friday. You got a bounce of about 8 million shares so far today. Look at P&G. See if anybody's running for the hills into the consumer discretionary stocks. Well, this looks horrible too. You gapped up on November 10th. You did so on 8 million shares. You came back into it with 8 million shares on Friday. So at best, kind of a tie. You popped today with 2.7. Again, this market looks either way overbought on a day like this, or it's waiting for something that I cannot see yet. Take a quick look at some of these others in that sector. Coca-Cola. Big gap higher on the 10th of November on 16.8 million shares. You've come back to it at least with mostly the same kind of volume. It may just be a little lighter. You've got to 14.4 million shares on Friday, 8.1 or 8.2 today. AutoZone, I know that they were out pushing upgrades and downgrades in this sector early in the morning. And again, no real volume here. Got a nice pop on Friday with 227,000 shares. You got 67,000 shares in AutoZone. That is very interesting. This is getting curiouser and curiouser as I dig through the the soft underbelly of the market. Okay, Starbucks. Nice pop higher today with 3 million shares compared to the 6.3 million shares on Friday. You gapped down with 15 million shares. So you disappointed on earnings. Everybody told you you were stupid and you shouldn't have sold Starbucks and you should be out there buying it. I saw them, well, it was reticent of a cowboy movie where they were circling the wagons on a lot of these different stocks to push what were bad earnings and tell everybody, just ignore it. It'll go away. There's salves and ointments for that. Starbucks will be fine. Anyway, you did fill the gap today with not much volume. So if there's something going on, it doesn't look to me it has a lot to do with people stampeding their way in to buy these stocks today. When we come back, we're going to do a little bit of food out there and take a look at Yum.
If you're looking for potential trading setups in the stock market, then Rocket Equities and Options Report is a newsletter you should try. Tommy O'Brien delivers options and equity trades when the markets present them, using a combination of fundamentals and technicals. Sign up for Rocket Equities and Options Report today with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. For all the details and to start your subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Everything in the universe is governed by the Fibonacci sequence. This mathematical principle is responsible for everything from the most aesthetically pleasing artwork to patterns in the stock market. To stay on top of stock patterns you can take advantage of, sign up for the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter at TFNN.com. When you subscribe, you'll get a weekly report from veteran day trader Larry Pesavento on stocks you need to pay attention to. And you can trust Larry's analysis. After all, he's got 45 years experience as a day trader. Larry will also provide daily charts, videos, and data on the key markets that he's tracking. Expect notifications from Larry on market movement you need to act on at any time. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. Subscribe to the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter today. TFNN.com, educating investors.
TFNN has launched the Tiger's Den, hosted at Discord. TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years, with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. The Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And PayPal. I can't remember if we looked at this already. Certainly don't like it on the long side. June 30th, you had 14 million shares at 67.58. You breezed through that on 2 million more shares on December 22nd, which would suggest that you're going to have a good chance of coming back and retesting it. You did gap up on the 3rd with a lot of other stocks with 27 million shares, so you'll have to chew through that. But now I think a lot of these stocks just look like they want to come back and start around that whole area of the first week of January of this year. And we've had our pop. A lot of people sold into it. I see, it is a tale of two cities. We got a lot of people saying that you should be buying stocks because everybody's selling. But, it's not like they're selling at 3,700 and throwing the baby out with the bathwater. They're actually selling on the market on the way it goes up. And that I'm talking about the retail and 401 crowd too. And that's always got to make you think a little bit. But yeah, Talking about some gaps, I don't see any open that don't have to do with a whole lot of lower out here. When I look back to big gaps in this into April of 2017 at 47.15, and you've got yet another gap that's open from July 12th of 2017 at around $56. So maybe we look at gaps differently out here, but I don't see a lot that drives other than this one, which is higher than 69. Anyway, not a big fan of PayPal at the moment. I think you're going to find at least a test of around that 67, 68 level before much else happens. So when you can, not when you have to, we will return like a bad rash tomorrow.
Building wealth trading in the stock market seems impossible.